All right, everyone, welcome to book club. I'm very excited about this. This is week one, our first week of our every week book club that we'll be doing around my new book, Move Over Extroverts. So, very excited. We're going to be doing this every week, 1 o'clock Eastern time for a half hour. Come here live when you can to give your feedback and ask questions and participate. And we're going to record all of these. And so don't feel any pressure to be here every single week because life and business. So this first week was just an introduction. We're also going to talk about the foreword. So does everyone have a copy of the book? Either in person. Cheryl has hers. I know a lot of you got your copies last week at Elevate. And please do, thank you for starting that, Cheryl. Please do pop in the chat where you're from and say hi. I like knowing where everyone is located. I see Katia is here from Portland. Welcome. So everyone is welcome on these calls, all brokerages, all production levels, introverts, extroverts, everybody is welcome here. And so the foreword of the book is kind of ties into relationships. It was actually written by my partner, my boyfriend, Keith, who is also in real estate. He's also an author. Right now, he runs the Keller Williams brokerage office in Newton, Massachusetts. And we started in the business the same year, 2013. So we have similar experience levels, very different personality types, though. So it's been interesting to navigate our relationship. It's been really fun to see how our energy flows together and what I need, he doesn't need, and vice versa. And so I thought it would be a really nice way to start book club by talking about the foreword and hearing from you what your experiences have been in your either romantic relationships or business relationships and how that flows. So if anyone wants to come off mute and we can make this more of a convo versus me just talking at you. I see Denise does not have a copy of the book. That's okay. You can get one on Amazon. There's paperback copies available and an ebook version for Kindle. And yeah, you can still participate, of course, in the discussion. So yeah, anyone have any experiences being in relationship with either an introvert or an extrovert? Yeah, Cheryl.
Well, it just sounded so very familiar when I heard you at Elevate because I'm kind of your boyfriend and my husband is you. But what is good about that is it balances because if there's too much of one personality in any relationship, I just don't think it works. And I think that's why they say opposites attract, and I love it when you get into the ROE later and all of that. I think that was so eye-opening for me because there are times where I literally have to say to him, I just need some quiet time. And I need to not talk about something. And he's the same way. And we understand each other enough to, like I said, it doesn't offend each other, but we can understand each other and complement each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. So the main difference between introverts and extroverts is that energy flow. And I do want to make sure that I'm mentioning this on every call, every session, because there is so much misinformation out there. We introverts get our energy recharged when we're alone. And extroverts need to recharge with other people. In general, that's kind of the overarching definition. So keeping that in mind, it's really interesting to go about our work and our lives, interacting with other people and being very aware of how they affect us. Um, so for everyone who hasn't yet gotten the book or read the foreword, basically what it is Keith telling a story of him the first time he saw me speak on a stage at a conference. And his reaction to my talk was, that was great, but you really need to bring a higher energy level to the crowd and you're too chill and quiet. That was his feedback in a loving way. He was trying to be helpful. And I said, I appreciate what you're saying, but no, that's not what my people in the introvert room need. They need somebody, they've been yelled at on from every other stage at this conference. They need somebody to just kind of be more chill and deliver information in a more calm, quiet way for them. And that was very eye-opening to him. And so he kind of gives his perspective. That's actually why I asked him to write the foreword for the book, because I thought it was a very interesting perspective and a true story of how his perception changed just in that moment. I remember we were coming down the escalator. We were at the Sheridan, the conference center across from the Sheridan, actually, at Triple Play in Atlantic City. And there's this giant two-story escalator, and we're going down it having this conversation. I'll never forget. So it was really cool. And from that moment on, he always kind of kept that in his mind, and it's his favorite story to tell. So, all right, who else would like to share anything that you want to say about your relationships or how this kind of shows up?
Actually, I could share a little bit. I think just due to life experiences, right, or just things that happen, I used to be an extrovert, but then I became more of an introvert. And I find this really interesting to learn about it because I think in the last 10 years, I became more of an introvert than anything else. Does that typically happen?
It can. Some of it is
Okay.
pre-wired. There's no definitive research on if it's more nature versus more nurture.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of has a different opinion on it. I think it's some combination of both
Awesome.
because we are all wired one way or another. And then we go through life and we all have different experiences, and that affects us too. So, in my opinion, it's a combo of both.
All right. Because I have a wicked introvert partner, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Ziggy rubbed off on me.
Could be.
Yeah.
Or he brought out something that was already naturally ingrained in you. Yeah, Cheryl.
Sorry to share again. But I think I know for me, I'm actually an introverted extrovert. And I can have fun in crowds and can have those conversations, but I also need my quiet time at the end of the day or during the day to kind of get recharged. Being in a lot of stimulation with a lot of people, I can do it, but it actually takes my energy. And everybody's always surprised at that, going, "You're such an extrovert." I'm like, actually, I'm kind of a little bit of both. So I don't know if anybody else relates to that.
Well, I completely relate to that. I'm 44 and sorry, I just got out of the shower, but I in my 20s and my 30s, I worked in TV. So that's a very draining like field to work in because you're always on. You have to be on. And now I'm in my 40s. Been in real estate for 10 years. Now I have a 2-year old. So it's just there's so much, like you were saying, the mental bandwidth and the stimulus of trying to do it all at the same time and multitasking. And I'm not one for Gary Keller's, what is the book? The one thing, you know what I mean? Just do the one thing. I can't. I can't, I don't operate that way. But at the same time, yes, it would help me if I did, but at the same time, I just have so much going on. And in this day and age, think about it. How many times every second are we pinged? A text, an email, a phone call, a message, a social media request, blah, 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 blah. Like our mental bandwidth is suffering because of that. And so that's why like I was very extroverted in my younger years, but now that I'm getting older, it's so much more physically draining and mentally draining that I actually it like Teresa, like you were saying, and Cheryl, like you were saying, like I enjoy the quiet. Like please just give me like I need some time to like decompress and just lay down in the dark in the quiet. And it's not that I have a headache, it's just I just want to be left alone for like 5 minutes. So
I hear you entirely. And I agree. I need that. And it's not napping. It looks like napping, but it's just resting and taking a break. Yeah, Edwina, what do you have to offer? I'm glad you're here. Welcome.
Thanks. So I agree with what Cheryl said. You just need some of that quiet time. And there are days where you go and go and go and you're giving and you're, around and you're supporting all people and whatever. And then there are times where I just go, it is too peoply out here. I need to go. And I go hide where, for a little bit to decompress, because you just feel like I don't have any more to give. And if I don't fill up, then I'm just going to implode.
Well, speaking to that, the whole saying and the whole image, like every morning we wake up and we have a bowl full of rocks, let's say, or a bowl full of pebbles, right? Every pebble we're giving to someone. I give a pebble to my daughter every day. I give a pebble to my clients. I give a pebble to my husband, the dogs, everything that I have to do, I'm giving out. Who's putting it back in? So we have to make sure. And I just posted something on social media this morning, like something about like in your daily task of what you have to do today, make sure yourself is a priority. Like make sure you put yourself, because nobody else is going to put you first. Right now, like I'm on this webinar, but I'm making a doctor's appointment too on the other screen. Like nobody else is going to do that for you. You have to take care of yourself, because in this business of real estate, it is so mentally draining. You get blamed for everything that's not your fault. Like it's too much. And so being in this business for over a decade now, like it's just so draining that I have to do things to like and being introverted is one of them now. Like I love being introverted, and I want to work on how to reshape my business of building it, of keeping it going while being introverted too.
Well, that's what we're here for. That's my whole business, is helping people do exactly that. Go ahead and skip ahead chapters to we have a whole section on recharging and creating that list of recharging activities that need to be identified and listed out and then strategically placed in the calendar, so that we are refilling our own bucket, our own rocks, our own. I don't know why I just thought of gummy bears, but I kind of like that. Why not? But if we don't do it, no one's going to do it for us. You're absolutely right about that. I see
And I
Teresa
think,
said open houses drain me. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, we're in a people business. So, sometimes you have to watch your tone of voice. I think, if this person keeps talking me to death, I can't take anymore. But so I have to like reel myself in and think of the big picture. And, like, oh, let me call you for 5 minutes. An hour later, they're still chatting away, which we all can do. But to the mention with the open houses, I just try to focus on the people that um, are interested and serious, the ones that walk around from the neighborhood that want to just know all the details about the house. I really try not to engage them too much. I give them the sheet and say, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, they want a tour and they just want to go back to the clubhouse and tell everybody how this has a different molding and that has a different sink, and it's just information. So you just have to sort that out of how you're going to focus your conversations and what energy you put towards them and how much.
Yes, because open houses can be extremely draining. And I operate the same way when I have an open house. I can tell within 5 seconds if that person is going to engage with me, if they're making eye contact, if they're asking me questions. And if they're not, I just let them go on a tour. Like I do not engage. I'm just like, go do your thing. I don't care. And then I just focus on myself or focus on the other guest who is engaging, because I'm not going to follow you around, because I built my business on I only work with people who want to work with me. If you don't want to work with me, that's fine. But I'm not going to chase you and try to quote unquote earn your business. I mean, I don't have time for that. The transaction's going to be stressful enough. If I have to prove to you that you want to work with me, I can't do that for you.
Yeah, people also don't want to be chased. No one wants that. So it's much better to attract versus chase. I also just wrote down the word notifications. I think that we have a huge opportunity. This is not part of the book. It's just me talking. We have a huge opportunity to buy back some of our mental space by turning off notifications. And I think that's huge, and it's underutilized. And there's also some fear that comes with it. What if I miss something important or time sensitive? How many Facebook notifications can be that time sensitive that can't wait 12 hours or 24 hours, really? So that might be an interesting exercise I would encourage everyone to try, just turning off. I don't have any Facebook or Instagram notifications on my telephone. I have phone calls, texts, but the text, I see who it's from, but I can't see what it says. So that way my brain doesn't start to spiral if I accidentally look at it and I'm not ready to look at it yet. That's a good hack too. But going back to, yeah, Cheryl, what you got?
Well, I had to learn this the hard way. I mean, I used to be that, oh, you can call me anytime, blah, blah, blah. I used to be in hospitality and finally, I was burning out and I just had to draw the line in the sand. And so anytime I have a listing appointment or a buyer's appointment, I let them know because my husband's a manager at Trader Joe's and he goes to work at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I just let him know, hey guys, my phone is off after 7 p.m. There are no real estate emergencies after that time. So I will get back to you promptly in the morning. And you know what? I mean, if there's somebody that I've only had one person in all my time that's had an issue with it, and I just, gracefully said, well, then, you know what? We're not the right people for each other. And that's okay. You need to find an agent that you can talk to at 11:30 at night. I'm not your girl. And so I think you have to draw your line in the sand. And it's been a game changer ever since I did that.
I could not love that more. It's so important. It is scary though, and it takes confidence to do that. So I give you a lot of credit, but it's so important.
It is so important creating boundaries because if you don't, people will take advantage of you. Just like I said, and they blame you for everything. Like I just got done a deal and this guy's yelling at me about the settlement statement and title. I'm like, I am the realtor. This is my lane right here. This is the title lane over here. You need to talk to those people. Like this is not, I can't fix the settlement statement for you. Like you need to talk to these people. And they just don't understand. Like all have to stay in our own lanes, right? Like I don't speak on behalf of title, like, and they don't speak on behalf of me. If you had a question about the contract, you wouldn't call them to have them explain the contract to you. Like, this is my lane, that's their lane. Let's all stay in our lanes.
Yeah, it's tough, and we do sometimes end up being the punching bag for everyone in the transaction, unfortunately. But Denise asked you dim down your screen. I don't, but I might. Tell me more about that.
Well, I was just something about the notifications. I was reading an article on it, and it said I don't turn my notifications off. I should, because sometimes I have an elderly parent that calls me and jars me in the middle of the night, and I'm just like, or notifications. But I do have them off my phone. But I was just reading about it was Sabbath rest is what it was on Sunday, relaxing and everything, and it was talking about just in our general life how we don't rest and how we're on notification, as you said. And he had mentioned some things about making sure your screen's dimmed down. If you can, keep it on vibrate, um, cancel notifications or turn them off. Just minimize that constant. And then, that your screen's lighting up if you get a notification. So I haven't tried that. I was wondering if anybody had, especially the screens
I mean,
lighting up.
I haven't tried the screen thing, but I mean, I usually at a certain time of night around like 7:30, 8 o'clock, I put my phone on like do not disturb. And that does pop up in other people's message threads. So if they're trying to text me, they already see I'm on do not disturb. So I'm not going to answer that till tomorrow morning when I wake up. So,
Yeah, I always advise that strategy. There's a book that I have sitting on my counter and I haven't read it yet, but it's called Stolen Focus. Has anyone read that? It's all about this technology stealing our focus and how it's affecting our brains. And I'll let you know when I get around to reading it. All right. Anyone else want to share any insights that they have or thoughts around their relationships specifically and how that energy kind of ebbs and flows? Anyone having any challenges having conversations with your partner, business or romantic or otherwise?
I think sometimes, like, I'll tell somebody, something, they're like, oh, what do you want or don't want? And I tell them, and it's like they didn't even hear what I said. It's like they'll be at my house. I'm like, do you want me to clear your table? No. And they clear it anyway. And I'm just like, and then they're banging my stuff around, and I'm an introvert and I like it to be peaceful, and not have and 5 people behind me in the sink when 2 would do. And now I'm being more proactive to say, can I have one person help me clear the table? And then I think everybody else is relaxed too. They can sit there and talk and engage and not be five people around my sink trying to find a spot for a dish. So I think verbalizing with people what you expect helps out also, because in their mind, they're already doing what they want to do and they didn't care what you said, or that, they think they're helping. So just being more articulate up front, I think helps people, and being repetitive. And then they kind of know, okay, whatever, after 3 hours, I'm done for the night. I'm done for dinner with friends. I need to go home. Whatever it is, just telling you up front your limit of, I'm not going to be out till 12 tonight talking and dancing because I'm overloaded, overstimulated.
Absolutely. Setting boundaries and managing expectations up front is what you're really describing. So important. Teresa.
First off, I just want to say thank you because at Elevate, now I'm starting to watch things that I do and I'm starting to recognize some things. So thank you very much. I can say for my own relationship, which has been like this forever, right? Like when he comes home, because he's the only person around, I'm the person that he just talks to. And by the end of the day, I don't want to talk, but I just let him do it. And I think you had mentioned something about that within your relationship, right? And I'm like, oh, I've got to learn more how to do this, right? Because we need to be supportive of our people as well. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm not the only one because you talked about it. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. And when I came home from Elevate, I talked to my daughter and my partner. I said, look, I need one day, just one day that you do supper, just one day, because before I left, I felt so overwhelmed and we kind of had it out. And there was like 3 days that we really didn't talk. And I kind of pushed the boundaries a little bit, but that was really important for me and I'm learning. So I just wanted to say thank you so much because it's hard for that balance in life. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
so welcome. I'm so proud of you for doing that. That is not easy. And I think it'll make a big difference because none of this stuff is easy. And communicating it can be challenging, especially if you've been in a relationship for a long time. There are certain patterns already in place. It can be really hard to go back and say, you know what, actually, I want to make a tweak here. But you're so welcome. I'm glad I was able to help. And congratulations for having that conversation and saying what you need. Help one night a week is not a heavy lift. That's not a terrible ask. So
Yeah,
totally.
congrats on voicing it because that's my biggest problem is I'm so independent that I don't ask for help because I've just never I grew up just not ever doing that because I was always just told take care of it yourself, do it yourself, da 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 da. And so I just became really independent. So it's really, really hard for me to ask for help. Really hard. And so I'm trying to work on that, but it's just for example, like for my real estate business, like I don't have a team. I have no assistants. It's all me all the time because I don't like to ask for help. Because I feel like it just feels like I'm bothering someone, you know? It's like they all have their lives over there, but like I just have to get better at that of asking for help, whether and I have been thinking about looking into getting VAs and stuff like that. So I'm working on it.
Could I give you some advice?
Yes,
So
please.
a mindset shift I would encourage you to strive for is rather than thinking of it as you asking for help, it's you giving someone else an opportunity to serve and to do what they're good at and to feel important and needed. And if it's a VA, an opportunity to earn some money. So it's really you giving someone else the chance to do something that they want to do and are good at.
No, it's a great mind shift because there are everybody's good at something. You know what I mean? Like people come to us realtors because this is what we do all day. We help people buy and sell real estate. If I was sick and had to go to the doctor, I pay the doctor to help me because that's what they're educated in. That's what they trained in, or the plumber or the handyman. So it's definitely a good mindset shift.
But again, it is hard just because I tell you this thing in a Zoom one day, it doesn't mean it's easy. But Cheryl's right. It will give you more time to do what you excel in, and it'll give you more brain space to be able to think more clearly. A lot of times we get too cluttered and then our productivity goes way down and we're just like in the weeds of the deal too much. And that's not healthy for anyone. That's not good for the client either. So many good ways to leverage, and keep coming back, everyone, because we'll talk through all of these. I made these chapters in this book very short, so we're going to talk through all of these different facets 1 week at a time, and keep bringing your questions and your thoughts. Denise, you said we're only 25% of the population. Do you mean introverts?
Yes.
I've seen research that shows closer to 50%, but I do think most people are somewhere in the middle, like introverted, extrovert, extroverted, introvert, some combination.
Most people don't think I'm an introvert because I've had to grow in my life, which is good. We want to be growing and learning, and I've had to put myself out there. I've known somebody that I've known for decades. He said, Denise, when somebody used to say boo to you, you would probably end up crying or feel like, what happened? Now you're like, whatever, tough as nails, which I'm not really. But um, I know I'm an introvert, even though I can function in the extrovert area for a certain period of time. I mean, like the other day, I laid down for a little bit. I was just on overload from all the things going on in my life. And I felt guilty for like laying down for 10 or 15 minutes. I felt like I was being lazy.
No, you're not being lazy. You're taking what you need to be a functioning human. We're not robots. We're humans. We need to rest. That is a great segue, and glad that you said that at the end here, because next week is all about the self-assessment. So there is a quiz in the book. If you guys have time to take the quiz, it's very short. And come to the next call with your results, and we can talk through them and talk about why it doesn't entirely matter what your label is. So join us next week. Any final thoughts or questions before we wrap up for the first week of this?
Just thank you for doing this.
My pleasure. Thank you for being here. You guys are awesome. All right, I will post this on YouTube, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Bye. Go
Bye.
rest. Go take
Thank
a nap.
you.
Bye.